Okay, leaving campsite number 10. Set up the GoPro. We're going to head to site 18, see if that's available. Stop at site 13 on the way. And we'll be camping from hopefully at 18, if not. Well, maybe we'll try 39. Okay, that's if we can get out of here. And it's a beautiful day. The black flies are present, and sometimes they land, but for the most part they're swarming and not landing. Hopefully the stabilization helps the video, because you're hanging out over the bow of the boat. Sounds like GoPro is paying attention. Alright, so the next stop is site 13. It's almost 2:30. So we could be getting to camp pretty late. I met some guys. One of them, give a shout out to Jeff Schneider. I met them at the upper dam. Jeff helped me get the boat back in the water. And I was talking to a bunch of other guys too. So the idea, my plan, my itinerary is 3 nights at 18, 2 nights at 39, and then maybe going to Grass Pond at 31. But that's not definite. I've camped there many times. I'd like to camp there again, but I kind of want to stay, since it's bug season, stay out on the main lake, because I think there's more wind, so that'll help with the bugs. So it would be 18 for 3 nights, 39 for 2, and then either going to 31 in Grass Pond or going to 13, camping there. But the thing with 18 is it's a popular site, so you got to get really lucky to get it. As many times as I've come here, I've only gotten it a few times, and then I end up at one of the sites nearby. So I think the game plan, 18 is taken. I'll try and go to 39 or Boone's Landing, whichever one looks better, and assuming they're both available, and stay there a couple of nights, and then if 18 opens, I'll go to 18 for 3 nights. So that would be 5 nights, and then I have 3 nights left, so I could go to 13 if it turns out to be good, or for 2 nights, and then paddle back down Bog River, camp at one of the lower sites last night, or go out, either one, depending on how things are looking. And then the other option is from 39, 18's not open, and I end up at 39. At 39, after 2 nights, if 18's still not open, I could go to Grass Pond, camp at 31. So we kind of have a plan, but we're playing it by ear. white pines, and there's a beach, and it's a big site. There's a nice fire ring. There's a thunderbacks. So it's just a nice location. So it's kind of like site number 11 in Little Tupper Lake. If it's empty, there's like no way I can paddle by it. I just have to camp there. Even though, you know, there's other nice sites, and I want to camp in other sites just to experience it. It's just very hard to paddle past 18 if it's empty. And it's the same with site 11 on Little Tupper Lake. Or site 12 for that matter. Site 12 is a little more difficult. You got to carry all your stuff up. Site 12. But you're up top and you just got this view of the bay, and it's really nice. So I'm hoping we can go to 11 because it's you know, it's later in the afternoon, and to get to 39 you got to go about halfway down the lake. So, yeah, it's nice and calm here. I don't know what it is on the lows, it's usually rougher. So it's a possibility you're paddling into the wind too. So you can see there's a lot of, oh, I hope you can see it. The trees are budding out, deciduous trees. So there's some that are starting to leaf out, but there's more that are budding out. So we're a week or two behind up here than back home. So a lot of times what happens when I come here is 18 is taken and I end up at 21, which is a nice site. You have some western exposure and you have a view of the lake. But I camp there quite often just because of what happens at 18. So I want to avoid that this time. So that's why 18 is taken. The lake conditions are not horrible. I'm going to have to try for Boone's Landing. Well, one of the good things about not eating that sandwich is I have basically no dinner prep, other than maybe a cup of tea. I brought in enough water with me for tonight and for tomorrow, so I don't have to filter water. Tomorrow I'll filter water. So that's another thing less to do. So it's a matter of just putting up the hammock and the tarp with the bug net. Probably not going to do a fire tonight. Tomorrow I'll have to find what process to do so I can do fire. My temperature must be in the 70s, and there's an occasional breeze, so it's very comfortable. And as long as you're moving, most of the time, flies don't find you. Between the movement and the breeze, makes it difficult for them. There's a back way to get up to the lake. I've taken that sometimes. There's an area with a lot of stumps, and basically you cut in an opening up here on my left, and you come out by 15, 16, and 17, and then you can loop around to 18 that way. You go up past 17, or you can continue straight past 15 and 14 to 13 and then out and back into this main room. And then out into the lake proper. I'm just going to paddle up, straight up the main route here past the scout camp and everything. And because I think that's the most direct way to 13. And then I'll stop at 13 and check that out. See if I can fix the seat so I get a little more back support. I mean, it's a 4.5 hour drive for me, but you know, you look at this and it's worth it. There's nothing like it this good within that driving distance. I mean, you think to find something that rivals it, you'd have to go up to Maine or Canada, and then you're driving further. And Maine is you're driving down a lot of logging roads. In some places I know there's fees involved. I mean, I've done some nice trips here. This is, all the camping's free. There's no cost. You don't need a permit unless you're camping more than 3 nights in the same place. And you can get that from the ranger. You can contact the ranger in the area. Send them some information with your driver's license. And then he emails you a permit. Most of the time I don't bother because I don't want to have to make additional work for them. And it's just easier to move sites after 3 minutes. Like I said before, there's a lot of nice sites in an area like this, and really anywhere you go. There's no motors back here, so I guess the DEC I'm using it. It's just nice. It's free. Yeah, you gotta work to get back here. But there were campsites 10-minute paddle from the footing. So you don't actually have to come all this way. You know, the wilderness camp. Every campsite is numbered. It has a fire ring. It has a privy or a thunderbox. So it's really special. I never get tired of it. I mean, it's harder now, being 71. It's harder to carry, it's harder to do everything. Paddling. So usually, like a day like today, with a 4.5 hour drive, put in the paddle, the carry, setting up camp. Tomorrow becomes a 0 day most of the time. And just like take it easy. Relax, read, take some pictures, that sort of thing. Today's Tuesday. I think, I don't know if it's, I have to check the weather again, but I think it was later in the week with about a 40 or 50% chance of rain, which is, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. we're getting pretty close to the, well, all this we've been paddling on the scout property, but we're getting pretty close to the camp infrastructure. We'll be going by that.